This video will support you in planning and writing your English folio for National 5 and higher. The focus is on persuasive essay writing. The guide will take you through how to decide on your topic, how best to research your topic, a good way to plan your essay and review your research, how to write the introduction, how to integrate evidence and order your argument, and finally, how to write the conclusion. So how to choose your topic. This is an important step and it shouldn't be rushed. Take your time exploring different options so that you are comfortable with your final choice. One of the ways you can do this, you can find inspiration by reading editorials, which you can easily find online if you just enter Editorials UK into your search engine. Editorials are journalistic articles which express an opinion. They're written in persuasive language, generally supported by research, and are written on current affairs. You might find an editorial brings to mind a topic for your persuasive essay. You can also get inspiration from news and documentaries, like Panorama on BBC, or even File on 4 on Radio 4. Both are good sources. You could, of course, write your persuasive essay on a local topic, which would be fantastic. Just think about how you're going to gather your evidence and where you're going to find it from. Once you've chosen your topic, you need a basic framework for your research. It's helpful to ask yourself what you already know about the topic. Take time to think it through and engage with it yourself before researching. Next, you need to establish what you need to know. This helps you to think carefully about the topic rather than just aimlessly Googling. Take a note of the questions that you will need to answer. At this stage, you might be able to organise your ideas for research into key ideas and order them logically. If you don't know enough about the issue yet, you can always do this later, but you should do it. Here I've picked out 4 key areas on the topic of obesity in Scotland and written down what I need to find out. I've then done the research using credible sources, noting the URLs above each set of research. I've slotted the research into my plan so I can roughly see what information I've got for each section. I won't use all of this research, but I will need it to inform my argument and my thinking. Take note of your frame of reference. If you're writing about the Scottish context, you will need to use Scottish statistics. Make sure that your evidence is relevant, make sure that it is Scottish, make sure that it is up to date and that it comes from a credible source. Look at your URLs to establish this. If you want to compare your context with other countries or other situations, then do so knowingly, acknowledging this in the essay and drawing a useful point from it. One of my sources has come from a Guardian editorial, but it's from a couple of years ago. However, the data is still fairly up to date and so it can be used. The subheadline also gives me some indicators as to possible causes of obesity and provides me with leads to follow up with further research. When you've gathered all your evidence, you need to review it. That means that you need to highlight the most useful facts or ideas or quotations, and then you also need to move your evidence around so that your argument builds and flows in a logical order. If you do this, you're naturally building in a logical structure and your argument will flow. Your introduction is vital in framing your argument, setting the tone and engaging your reader. You should start off with a hook, perhaps with a shocking fact or a rhetorical question, a descriptive or emotive scene which involves the reader, or maybe with an emphatic statement. You need to engage the reader, so addressing them directly can be useful. Here, for example, we talk about your. We also talk about we, Scots. This helps to create a shared sense of purpose or experience. As you do this, think consciously about the tone that you're employing. Is it critical, angry, humorous, colloquial, serious? You will naturally vary your tone throughout the essay, and it is important that you're aware of how your writing sounds. No one wants to be metaphorically shouted at all the way through an essay. Context is also key in your introduction. You need to frame your argument, leaving your reader in no doubt as to why they should be interested or care about it. You will need to highlight key information needed for your reader to grasp your point. And finally, throughout your essay, you will use language for effect. This includes effective word choice. Carefully select the word that best suits your meaning. Use of listing, climax, short sentences, balanced or contrasting structures, repetition or imagery. Take time to work on your writing to bed these techniques in. You may have to rewrite paragraphs, sections, or more several times to get it to sound right. This is part of the process of writing well. From the introduction, you go on to build your argument in the main body paragraphs. Start with the largest and most persuasive point. Make sure that you're balancing evidence with opinion and comment. Don't just bombard your reader with statistics. And overall, sound genuine and engaged. Move on to your next argument smoothly. You do this by building in excellent transitions. This is how we move from one idea to the next. Topic sentences are transition sentences, as they indicate what will be happening in the rest of the paragraph. But transitions can also occur within paragraphs as you move your argument on. Some of these highlighted words are signposting words, but transitions can occur in other ways too. Remember all that research that you did? You need to use it carefully. It needs to be integrated into your essay. Avoid listing or bombarding your reader with statistics. Use them intelligently by reframing them. For example here, rather than listing all these different effects of obesity, I've simply reframed it as a range of physical and mental illnesses and given a couple of specifics simply to show that I know what I'm talking about. Do this where necessary. In some instances, you will need to use specific facts and figures. Sometimes rephrasing statistics can be helpful. For example, 64% could be reframed as the majority, or most, or almost 2/3, or 2 out of 3, whichever you feel best supports your argument. You may wish to acknowledge your sources within your essay in order to add more credibility to your argument. So, for example, you might refer to a recent government survey or according to NHS data. You don't necessarily need to go into much more detail than that. To conclude your essay, you should clearly signpost that you're wrapping up your argument. You could use to conclude or in conclusion, or you could indicate a summary of your points as I have done here. You should give an overview of your argument and appeal to your reader in some way. You should leave them thinking about your argument after they've finished reading it. You could use humour or appeal to their emotions in another way. The final sentence should feel complete, not as though you've simply stopped the essay. It should sound and should feel finished.